All right, welcome back to our continuing special coverage of this year's party primaries. The last few ones have been scattered here and there, but for the first time tomorrow we have about 30 counties that will be having some form of nominations or other. And tonight I have a panel here that will be helping me to sort through the noise, the contestations, and just what this means. And we have three editors here at NTV, Roslyn Obala, Ben Kitili, and James Smart. And James Smart, by the way, has been alleging that he should have been the one welcoming all of us because he alleges that he has been here longer.
Good point. I think of importance is that I've been on this set before, and the three of you have not been, so it is my pleasure and my honor to welcome colleagues. Yes. They're not new to you, but not even new to this place, but for the first time, Ben Kitili, news editor, Karibu Sana, Roslyn Obala, our planning editor, Karibu Sana, and of course, Joe Ageo, the most famous of them all.
I will ignore that part. Yeah. but Joe Ageo can confirm that is...
that it is you.
Yes, that is me. All right. So Ben, this is interesting. I mean, we have not seen anything like this. I mean, before we had multi-party politics, we used to have this sort of thing where, you know, people are given tickets. But since the advent of multi-partyism, there's always been some form of nomination, however shambolic, however chaotic. But this time, parties seem to have been skirting around this whole nomination thing. And even though tomorrow we have some, but even before this, there was a long list from UDA of people who have actually got direct ticket. A very interesting strategy, perhaps one would say.
Yes, indeed. It is a different situation, like you say. We are seeing different types of coalitions in 2022. And many would argue that it's a bad thing, or rather, would ask, is it a good thing that UDA are having all this hullabaloo with their nomination? Some would say it shows it's a democratic party. Others will say there's going to be a big fallout. I was talking to some Jubilee party leaders, and they were saying they feel better than that in Jubilee they will not have 2-3 people, you know, vying for the same seat. But again, it's tricky for the DP. It is a dicey situation for him as he finds himself in several of the key counties that are key allies of him are having to battle it out, and he's letting them do it. We've seen in Kiambu, in Embu, we already seen some issues there. We are seeing in the North Rift, all the counties in the North Rift. Democrats will say it is good that he's letting them race, as we say, but it is going to be a very tough balancing act, in my opinion.
Roslyn, what are you seeing?
I actually agree with Ben, because if you look at most of these political parties, they're pegging it on the issue of the cost of nominations, and then they're also saying that it reduces the level of divisiveness when people go to the polls. But if you ask me, at a time that we are testing our democracy under the new constitution, I think what UDA is doing tomorrow is the best thing, that you allow the people to elect the people they want. Because you can go to a boardroom and say this is the most popular person, according to the party. But is that the same popular person that the people want? So I think it's a two-way balance. As much as the parties want to remain intact, and they don't want to go through the shambolic, chaotic process that we've always seen, it's also testing their popularity among the people, because the people will also want to taste the kind of leadership that they want to give us.
Yet interesting, James, that at the end of the day, it's really difficult to know who takes part in those nominations. You can't control it. I mean, I'm not even too sure there's any party, UDA included, that can say, well, we really know who the people who are coming tomorrow are members, and they actually are well-intentioned. Because, I mean, we've had stories in the past where, you know, if you are facing a strong opponent in the other party, then you can marshal people to go and support the weak candidate, so that in the election, actually, you end up facing a weaker candidate. I mean, just how much control can any party say they have on this process and the people who will take part?
And I think that's the challenge, because however big the party and however long they exist, every nomination is a logistical nightmare. You are asking the party organ machinery, in a sense, to find first the candidates, make sure you verify them, make sure all the voters on the party lists can be verified somehow by everyone who's running for those seats, and then make sure that the ballots are somehow transferred to up to the very small unit of that party, and then conduct an election of sorts, then count it peacefully and make sure that the results come back up. It's almost impossible. We are asking the job that we see IEBC taking years to plan for party to do this. So in essence, in a way, the parties set up themselves for failure, that this is an exercise that they don't do normally, and it becomes a huge financial burden. And I think that explains one part of why we have these days in a sense where it becomes chaotic, problematic, and we don't even know, was there elections conducted in the first place in this? Yes. But the second point, I think, is what you mentioned aside earlier, that our democracy since the first, when we only had one party, and the queues that were shorter were winning those, sort of nominations. Yes, it sowed the seeds of what we have now. And it's almost difficult for us to sort of remove ourselves from what has become sort of like body politic of who we are going to election, that somehow there's someone big sitting somewhere who sort of holds the strings and decides, in essence, I want this guy to be an MP there, and I'll do everything to get him there. And people thinking that, well, I can actually counter that by making sure that I make it impossible for party officials to get there and bring these different parties. So in a big way, in a sense, this is what our democracy has come to, and in a sense, seeing how ODM and UDA are conducting it different ways, that ODM perhaps has learned for the last 3 elections, being branded the party that is very chaotic and problematic on elections, has learned perhaps to stagger it a bit. And we also forget that UDA is a very new outfit, and they did not have sort of this benefit. The people might be the same, but putting together a party machinery is such a juggernaut. It's a big question, a big problem. You have many interests spanning, many places.
But also in the process, Ben, and I think we'll be looking at some of those. There are some very interesting races that we are dealing with. I mean, you have the North Rift, for example, whether you're talking about Uasin Gishu, whether you're talking about Nandi, where you actually have interesting, and I think at some point we'll be getting to Ken Moridi, Lois, and some of our colleagues out there to get a sense of what's going on. But just walk us through some of those races that we are looking at, for example, in a place like Uasin Gishu.
Yes. Yes, so you find that the Deputy President's Party, UDA, are trying to, like James said, ODM and Azimio, Jubilee, the other affiliates are doing purely the consensus, then the direct ticket, so to speak, and the UDAs are trying to kind of a hybrid system where they are doing consensus in some places, and then they are doing nominations. And what the UDA are doing is that in the North Rifts, they are letting people, battle it out, and we've seen. And
I think we could look at that.
It's like in the county of Uasin Gishu, for example. You find that there are 5 or 6 candidates who want to be, governor. You have Jonathan B, who is being called Kotemoja. A very interesting story behind that nickname. And then Caleb Kositano, of course, the Soy member of parliament.
James had him last night.
Yes. So these guys, 6 of these guys. And
Sarah Serem is the same Sarah Serem of the SRC and China. Yes. She became an ambassador, right?
Yes, in China.
And Julius Bitok is another ambassador as well, if I'm not wrong.
So this looks like a very crowded field.
Yes.
And Veska used to be here at the Nairobi County, right? It was one of the CECs at some point.
Yes.
So interesting races there, and somebody will lose, someone will win, and that's just what the party will have to deal with.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
So that is the county of Uasin Gishu.
And I think there's also another county where we'll be having some key races there, and this is Kericho County, and our Kevin Mutai is on ground. And Kevin Juageyo here, paint for us a picture of what's happening in Kericho. What can we look forward to tomorrow?
Well, good evening, Joe and the team there in the studio. We are at the heart of County 035 for one of the hotly contested party primaries, and one of the key positions to watch during tomorrow's nominations is that of the governor, where it has attracted key political figures, including the former Energy Cabinet Secretary Charles Keter, who will be battling it out with the former Professor Eric Mutai. This has been cited as a 2-horse race, but of course there's also the incumbent Deputy Governor Lily Ngok, who is also be in the race to seek to succeed the current governor, Professor Paul Chepkwony. The reason why I'm saying that this position of the governor is the one to watch is because of what will be happening. Remember that Charles Keter has served in this particular region as a member of parliament. He went to the Senate. He was taken to government to serve in different positions, and even as a minister, and now he's coming back to the electorate, asking them to give him another chance to serve them now as their governor. But of course, also will be looking out at other regions as well. For instance, also in Bomet County, we understand that there is also a key figure there. That is the former PS Mosonik, who will also be facing the current governor, that is Hilary Barchok. And of course, also there are other interesting parts to watch. Also one of the hitting races is also that of the position of the woman representative. It has attracted 4 aspirants who will be battling it out to for the UDA ticket. Remember, this is one of the deputy president's strongholds, and it is very critical this time to secure this particular ticket, because some of the locals are saying that this will definitely have an impact and of course signals a direct win during the August polls. And of course, also it is worth noting that there's only one aspirant, and of course also that is the current senator, that is Aaron Cheriot, who does not have an opponent in tomorrow's nomination, so is likely to get a direct ticket. In other constituencies, there are 6 constituencies in Kericho, for instance. There's Kipkelion West, there's Kipkelion East, there's Soin Sigawet, Ainamoi, Belgut, and Bureti. And of course also these are key areas that have attracted a lot of aspirants who will also be seeking the UDA ticket. So we'll be here, and of course also the deputy president has come out to assure every aspirant that this will be free and fair. And of course, so that is the policy that the UDA party has made out there to ensure that every aspirant gets a fair chance that is seeking to have the UDA ticket. So that's it. We'll be up very early in the morning from 6 a.m. We'll be traversing all the polling stations and later converge at the tallying center, that is at the Kericho T, to follow on what will be coming in, the counting of the votes. So we'll be here on standby in Kericho, and we'll be bringing you up to speed on whatever will be transpiring from this particular region with regards to the UDA nominations. Back to you in studio.
All right. Thank you very much, Kevin Mutai. I do hope you can get yourself a lot of tea, because it's going to be a long day tomorrow. So, ladies and gentlemen, a very interesting contest there. I think, as Kevin Mutai was alluding to, Charles Keter, a lot of people initially said this was kind of a walkover. And then the Mutai Kirui ticket happens then, and suddenly it is a toss-up. It is not an easy race, and also you were in a little bit.
Yes, indeed. Like that list you're seeing there, it was a 5-man or 5-person list. There's a lady there, Lily Ngok, the deputy governor, and around the last 24 hours, that is when Fred Kirui, decided to team up with Eric Mutai, and in my opinion,
and he was in the race actually.
Yes, he
so
was in the race,
basically
yes.
Just stepped down and then.
And yes, and that kind of changes the game. If you ask me, for Charles Keter, you'll find a very interesting battle with Mutai.
Yeah. I think for purists, the way what was projected in the beginning was, Charles Keter will get in and win, no problem. And then all of a sudden, it became this sort of a mismatch, a Goliath-David situation, where we could see even videos of Mutai and the rest coming out saying we're asking for money to be, because we're actually fighting someone with a lot of money.
Actually, was at a certain trading center, and people raised money for him for fuel.
Yes. So in essence, I think for purists, anyone else outside, watching the Kericho race, I think that's an interesting thing to watch. The dynamics of the branding of and the sort of the capacity of the 2 different candidates. But also for importance is what happened to the outgoing governor. I think pretty much in every race, I'm not sure, but in every race, this Paul Chepkwony has decided to stay away totally and completely. And that's something that is, I don't know if it's admirable, if you like, Rosalie.
I think it's quite a different scenario with Kericho County, because this is a governor who has served 2 terms, the professor. And what people expected, just like his other colleagues, is that he will determine who succeeds him.
Or at least try to.
Or at least try to, and just tell us, this is the way I want the county leadership to head. But here is a case where we have an incumbent that he's not bothered, like he's just waiting for his last day to leave office. And if we talk about the former CS, Charles Keter, again, he presents another different scenario. Remember, this was somebody who resigned as a senator and decided to join government. And with our structure in government, you're not supposed to be an elected leader. So he had to abandon the political jacket and just come back and do the government work. Now he's coming back to the people almost 7 months after he has not been directly involved in the politics of the place. So in Kenyan politics, 1 day or 1 year is a long time. So it's like you're starting afresh, doing the baby steps. And you find that there are other people who have actually been working all this time, preparing themselves. Because remember, even when he started, people were asking, is he really going to contest? Because he started with the banners and the billboards, and the question was, is he really in the race? So when he came, you find that there are already people who have made very many steps. So you walk in, yes, you had made a name, yes, you were the front runner then, but now you come in and the dynamics have actually changed. And I think that is exactly what Charles Keter is facing. He needs to now look at it and see, now how do I galvanize my previous constituency, and how do I sell myself to the people that at that particular time as a CS, I was supposed to abandon that political court and come in as a government official, but now I'm back and I'm now playing politics.
All right, I think we can now speak to Kennedy Mureithi. Kennedy Mureithi is our senior politics reporter here at NTV, and he's somewhere in Nandi County. And Kennedy, a very interesting region where you are, that if anything can go wrong with this nominations, that's the place, because the stakes are pretty high. I mean, if you talk about Uasin Gishu, you talk about Nandi, that is the place where there are many big wigs, as we like to call them, going against each other. And the party is rather strong in that part of the country. What are you hearing on the ground? What is the sentiment with regards to the sort of preparations and the overall sentiment, even of the contestants, and also, you know, the people?
Well, a very good evening to you, Joe, and welcome back home. NTV is where you belong. But just going right to your question, the Deputy President, William Ruto, has been very categorical, and you might have noticed until now, even as you continue with your discussion, is that the Deputy President has not been very keen on calling upon the people of the Rift Valley to step down for each other. Remember, the Deputy President has been very key and instrumental in calling upon Kakamega County, where he called upon Senator Boni Halwale to step down for Cleophas Malala to go for governor position. Then you'll also notice that in Nairobi County, the Deputy President has been very key also in asking Bishop Margaret Wanjiru to step down for Senator Johnson Sakaja, and this has been happening in other parts of the country, but in his own area, that is here in Rift Valley, and we start here in Nandi where we are, the Deputy President has not been very keen on asking the people of the whole of this region to step aside for anything. Actually, we had thought that the governor for Nandi would be given a direct ticket, but as it stands right now, Joe and your team here there in Nairobi studio, is that it is happening that Sang will be going to nominations with former Governor Cleophas Lagat and also Alan Kosgei, that is son to former Minister Kosgei. And these are the people who are considered as top for going for the governor position. But as we have been able to ascertain when we got here on ground in Nandi County, is that the race has now been fashioned to a two-horse race. That is between the former Governor Cleophas Lagat and the current governor, Governor Sang, and all of them will be gunning for the UDA ticket. Remember, in the whole of this Rift Valley region, if you do have that ticket, the UDA ticket, then you are as good as having 1 foot in in whatever position that you want. However, in this Nandi County, Joe and your team, that is Ben Kitili, James Smart, and also Rosalyn Obala, my political editor, then you will realize that in Nandi Hills constituency, the UDA nominations have been halted for a minute because one of the contestants died on budget day. That is just a few days ago. And with regards to that, the UDA nominations have been stopped in that particular constituency. But in every other position, then the UDA nominations will go on. Another key point that you actually need to look at is that the son of former Minister Henry Kosgei, that is Alex Kosgei, will be gunning for the senator seat. This is after he has gone for the Mgwen constituency position for 2 terms, and some of the voices that we are hearing is that he is a serious contender. One of the things that we've been talking to people, and they are saying that he has been able to impact the lives of many people in this particular county very possibly, and actually he's gone ahead to even use his money into succeeding and making sure that some of the projects in that particular constituency have been funded from his own pocket. One of them is a basketball court. Then he's been able to give the students in most of the schools milk. Then there is also the computer lab that he has been able to equip from his own money and also using the constituency money. But remember also, he will be running against another strong contender, that is the current senator, that is Samson Cherargei, who until about a month ago was going for the governor position. And it is believed that the Deputy President William Ruto was able to prevail upon him to not go for the position of governor and just go back to the position that he has been. So tomorrow it is going to be a battle royale here in Nandi County, where the incumbent Samson Cherargei will be going head to head with the member of parliament of Mgwen, that is Alex Kosgei. And these two are being seen to have a 50-50 chance. What we've been able to talk to, there is nobody in this particular county who will be able to tell you that this is going to be that particular person. What does that tell? Probably there is going to be democracy in the election of the senator. Not so many people are focused on the governor position. They have shifted their focus on the senator position. And these two people are being touted as a serious contender. On the governor position, there is the current governor, Governor Sang, and then there is the former Governor Cleophas Lagat. But also as they move on to these other positions, remember that if you do have the UDA ticket, then there's a probability that you just have one foot into it. So we are keeping tabs, and tomorrow by 6 o'clock in the morning, Cherargei has been able to reach us, and he has said that he will be voting at 8 o'clock in a region called Mosoriot. And we will be there so that we make sure that we capture all this. But as it stands here, this is the Deputy President William Ruto zone, and most of those people who are contesting in UDA will be seeking to get that all-important ticket. And if they do, well, it is another region. So as you discuss, Joe, Kitili, Smart, and also Rosalyn Obala, remember that there is that region and there is that question where Deputy President William Ruto has not interfered with this Rift Valley region, even as he calls on other regions to step down and actually get consensus. And that has become a major talking point in this region. But right now, I take us to a break.
If you feel it, it's real. Coca-Cola, real magic.
You know, there's this notion that golf is difficult.
If there is one thing that you will pick up from golf, it's patience, persistence and focus.
Advice that I'd give to people who want to start playing golf is to start.
And I assure you, you'll be addicted before you know it.
Nilipoanza kukohoa, kuhisi maumivu kwa kifua, uchovu mwilini, joto jingi mwilini, kutokwa na jasho jingi usiku, kukosa hamu ya chakula na kupoteza uzito haraka. Nilipimwa hospitalini, kabainika nilikuwa na TB.
Nilianza matibabu ya TB mara moja. Nilimeza dawa zangu bila kukosa kwa muda unaofaa, kama nilivyoshauriwa na daktari.
Ugonjwa wa TB sio uchawi. Mtu yeyote yule anaweza kupatwa na ugonjwa huu. Lakini ukimeza dawa vizuri, TB inatiba.
Nilitibiwa TB, nikapona na niko sawa.
TB inatiba. Pata matibabu bila malipo katika hospitali zote za umma. Tujijali, tumalize TB. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Wizara ya Afya na washirika wake.
Are you a health beneficiary with an outstanding loan? From the 1st of March to the 30th of April 2022, we are offering you a 100% COVID-19 penalty waiver. Kamilisha malipo yako ya HELB leo.
All our dreams can come true, and HELB is the best place to empower our dreams. Kamilisha malipo ya HELB.
Take advantage of the 100% penalty waiver and clear your HELB loan today. Terms and conditions apply. Higher Education Loans Board, empowering dreams.
If you feel it, it's real. Coca-Cola, real magic.
The First Lady.
What was I thinking when I left that money in your hands? That's what I get for being naive, for giving you a chance.
Think whatever you want, Father. Because I do always keep my promises, and sooner or later I'm going to come back here and take you out of this place because you know what? I'm the one that doesn't mind sharing everything I have with you. Excuse me.
Get peace of mind and protect the ones you love with the power of Dettol Bar Soap. It cleans and protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs. So no matter what type of mum you are, trust Dettol.
All right, welcome back to our special coverage of this year's Party Primaries Decision 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, before we took the break, Ken was telling us about Nandi County and an interesting conversation that we should have. I know that Naoma Sampao is on standby in Bomet, which is also quite interesting, and we'll be going there in a short while. As soon as we have her, we'll go there. But this Nandi thing is interesting. On the one hand, you have two brothers who are running, but they're running for different things. Yeah. There's Alex Kosgei, there's Alan Kosgei. Alex running for Senate, you know, facing Cherargei Samson. And then you have Alan on the governor's side, but Kennedy Muriithi is basically saying it's a two-horse race there.
Yes, indeed. I think, Joe, it's the real political battlefield in the county of Nandi, if you ask me. And like Kennedy said there, the battle between the incumbent governor, Sang, facing the former governor, Cleophas Lagat, and they seem to have teamed up with the Speaker of the County Assembly of Nandi, that is Joshua Kipto, and formed what they are calling the Nandi Kwanza Coalition, I'm told. And it will be interesting to see how that plays out, and also the dynamics of the Kosgei brothers. People in Nandi have been said to, from talking to people, that they are against the so-called dynasty, so that could work against either or both of the brothers. It will be interesting to see.
But James, very quickly, so that we can go to Naoma in Bomet.
Right. I think for me it's taking around the point that Muriithi left, that the Deputy President has made a point not to interfere in Nandi, but mostly, you know, most of the issues in Rift Valley and the seats in Rift Valley. And I think there's a point there. And the fact, I think, is this, that there sort of had been a generational change in 2013 in the whole of, the deputy president's sort of backyard. All these old, as you'd like, dynasties and the rest, either were defeated or, could not compete when URP was coming about in 2013. And so there was sort of a whole swath of new politicians that checked in. And in essence, I think the deputy president does not have a problem with whoever wins in that sense. There is no sort of competition to look out for. Yes.
But also that it really doesn't matter. I mean, because of the dynamics there, it's almost as if anybody who gets the ticket stands a good chance of winning. But let's go to Naoma Sampao, is in Bomet County. Naoma, Ageyo here. If you could just give us a sense of what we can expect tomorrow. Is everything in place? And what sort of races are we expecting in Bomet County tomorrow?
Well, thank you very much, Joe Ageyo. And notably, Bomet is another very interesting county to watch in these party primaries. Bomet County is considered Deputy President William Ruto's stronghold. And in this particular county, the most interesting races is the race for the gubernatorial bid and the Senate bid. And for the gubernatorial bid, the UDA ticket has attracted two candidates, the current governor Hilary Barchok, who will be facing off with former petroleum CAS John Mosoni. And that race is a very tight race according to the residents of this particular since we got here like about 2 hours ago. Another very interesting race is the senatorial bid, which has attracted 3 contenders. We have the current senator.
All right. We do apologize for those technical hitches. The nature of live broadcasting, so many things going on, but we had the gist of most of what Sampao was talking about. The gubernatorial race, the former CS Mosonik basically trying to unseat Hilary Barchok, who himself will be facing an election. I mean, he came in midstream, and here he is now.
Joe, I think if you look at what is happening, but going by the Deputy President's statement today, and he said this is going to be the biggest elections that we are having, and it's going to be like a mini elections, near elections. So I think for the Deputy President, it's not just the elections. I think he wants to test his popularity so that he can say that you can see the turnout of the people who came for the nominations, and you can see how my people from my backyard are taking these nominations very serious, because he has always said that I know what I want and I know the support I have. So that is why even if you look at the race and the people who the race has attracted, I think it is only Bomet that we are seeing that 2 candidates who are going for the ticket. And that is because there is a factor of Chama cha Mashinani, Isaac Ruto, who is actually supporting him for the presidency, but seeking to recapture the seat for governor. So if you look at even the Nandi dynamics, you see there are so many people. And any race that attracts so many people, it can actually tell you that the stakes are very high. So for the Deputy President to decide not to interfere with the candidature of people in his backyard, I think he's also sending a message, because he's been telling people, I am very popular, I know where I am. So for him, I think this is a litmus test, that once tomorrow we are done with the nominations, then he can say, look at the figures, look at the people who turned up, look at how the contests were. So even the people who are going to be chosen, he will look at that and tell the people, these are actually your candidates. I did not interfere with them. So that is why if you look at that, and the dynamics that Ben and James have been talking about, the issue of the dynasties, we've had the issue of development, we've had issues of those who started the party, how close they are to the Deputy President. And you remember he was very clear that I will not hand over a ticket to anybody. You must go to the people and defend the ticket. So for us, I think this dynamics, I think it's also a learning point for even some of his partners in Kenya Kwanza and also their opponents that, look, as much as we fear these nominations, in a way, it also sets the pace for us to govern.
Yeah, but again, one would say that depends on how they end up. I mean, sometimes if they are so chaotic, then yes, you know, the opposite might also be true. But I know at some point, I do hope that we can get Ouko Okusa, because on the other side, there is also some nominations that will be happening on, ODM nominations will be happening in Homa Bay. Remember, Gladys Wanga was given a direct ticket for the gubernatorial race, but the other races are still very much wide open. I don't know if we have Ouko Okusa right now. Ouko Okusa is somewhere in Homa Bay. Ouko, if you can hear us, I know it is late over there, but things might be ready for tomorrow. What are you hearing from the ground, and what seats exactly people fighting over or people competing for tomorrow?
Well, thank you very much, Joe. As you've clearly mentioned, there the nomination exercise for the seats here in Homa Bay, according to the organizers of the primaries, is that all is set. Actually, today there were some efforts to merge some of the polling stations into centers, and all the aspirants from the 40 wards were called, but that didn't really yield much. And therefore, we're going in tomorrow with a little uncertainty as far as the polling centers are concerned. But that aside, of course, we understand that, we all know, not really understand, but we all know that the gubernatorial seat here, the ticket, had already been issued to Gladys Wanga, and therefore that is out of the menu tomorrow. So we are looking at two constituencies, that is Karachuonyo and Ndewa, going to the polls tomorrow. Remember, there are a total of 8 constituencies that make Homa Bay County, but there's 6 constituencies we are made to understand that their tickets, direct nominations or tickets, had already been issued to the candidates by the party, that is the Orange Democratic Movement. And so tomorrow we are looking at 2 constituencies, and of course the county women rep that is also up for nominations tomorrow. It's a race that has attracted at least 8 candidates tomorrow. And then there is also the wards. I've just mentioned there are 40. So 40 MCAs are going to be, 40 wards are going to go into the polls tomorrow and see if they'll eventually come out with some candidates. So basically that is it. Remember, in Rachuonyo, there are 8, actually 9 aspirants who have expressed interest to unseat the incumbent, that is Adipo Okuome. And in Ndewa, Martin Owino, who is the incumbent, is also facing some stiff challenge there for the ticket. So in a nutshell, that is what is going to happen tomorrow here, and we'll be giving our viewers detailed updates on the ongoings. We expect the polls to start as early as 6. That is according to the organizers. Back to you, Joe.
Thank you, Ouko Okusa, and I think that's a good reason for you to go and get some good sleep, because you'll need to wake up early and really bring us up to speed all day long tomorrow. Ouko Okusa, our Western Kenya reporter, Nyanza region reporter, giving us those updates from Homa Bay County, where some of the nominations will happen tomorrow. 2 out of the 8 constituencies, he says, as well as the seat for woman rep, the gubernatorial ticket, and 6 of the constituency tickets having already been given. Roslyn, Homa Bay, very interesting.
Yes, Homa Bay is very interesting, not just because of the 2 constituencies that will go to the polls, and also he's talked about the 40 wards that will also be having elections for the county ward representatives. And for the county woman representative, because remember the incumbent, Gladys Wanga, has already gotten the ticket for the gubernatorial, so that is a seat that is vacant. We are also seeing that they will not have elections for the senator seat.
The nominations, I'm sure.
Yes, so that means that the senator has also been given the direct ticket for that seat. So the interesting bit, and I think this is a question that has been arising, that remember this issue of direct tickets, there are people who have raised concern with it. But the question is, were they not there during the NDC when they actually passed the party rules that were deposited with the Registrar of Political Parties, and the party opted for direct ticket, and they said that they were going to do opinion polls. Now, some people have questioned that when were the opinion polls done, who did them, and how were they shared for the party to be able to give the direct nominations. But for me, from where I sit and going back to the past nominations that we've witnessed in some of the regions of the southern part, I think this is, for ODM, is a plus. Because the past elections we've always seen have been very chaotic, people disappearing with ballot papers, some are given in hotels. So for the first time that we are having 6 constituencies where direct tickets have been given and we are not seeing mamas, then it means that for the first time, the National Election Board has actually managed the nominations well for the party.
All right, Ruth Sarmai is somewhere in Baringo. I think we have her, yes. Ruth, Joe Ageo here. What's happening in Baringo? Some rather interesting races that we can expect tomorrow. What's the level of preparation from what you can see? What's the sentiment on the ground?
Well, Joe, there's a lot of noise around me, and basically that is because of the campaigns that are still happening here at Cabernet Town, and MP aspirants for different seats. About 5 of them who are contesting in the Baringo Central constituency. Some of them have come here to continue to campaign just hours before the nomination exercise tomorrow. This shows you how heated the nomination exercise is going to be here in Baringo County, because this region has been known to be KANU's stronghold, and the tide has been changing over the years. And you know that began in 2002 when the late President Moi retired from active politics, and then ODM came in, and when Deputy President William Ruto was still part of ODM, and then after that he formed URP, and now UDA is taking over this region, seems to be taking over this region. So what we're going to be following up on keenly tomorrow is the gubernatorial seat, which has attracted 5 contestants, including the incumbent governor, Stanley Kiptis, who's seeking to defend his seat, and the former governor, Benjamin Cheboy, who's also seeking to come back and take over that seat. We also are looking at Moses Lesonet, who is the 3rd time MP for Eldama Ravine constituency, who wants to take a seat, wants to take a step into governorship. We also have former PS, wildlife PS, Fred Segor, who also wants to hopes that he will take over that seat for the governor. And we also have Robert Kiprop Chelagat, who is the former Elgeyo Marakwet procurement director, who is also eyeing that political position. So those are the individuals that we are looking at in the gubernatorial seat. We also have different, about 5 of them who are also eyeing the senatorial seat, as well as the women rep, who are 4 of them. And also some of the regions that we are going to keep our eyes on the ground include Marigat, which that is Baringo South, because there's a heated nomination exercise that is expected in that area. Also at Eldama Ravine, where 3 governors, the 3 contesting governors, that is Cheboy, Kiptis, and Moses Lesonet, will be voting from that region. And also the politics of that constituency is very heated. So we are going to keep an eye on that exercise. So what is happening just behind me, if we were able to zoom, we would have shown you how
you know, campaigns are still ongoing. I don't know if that is allowed according to the UDA party, but we will seek to find out tomorrow. So, Joe, we'll keep tabs of what is happening. Earlier on, when we visited one of the tallying centers, we found out that 195 contestants. Yes?
Yes, I mean, you mentioned something rather interesting. Behind you, I can see a lot of activity, and you're saying that some people are still campaigning. Well, as you mentioned, perhaps it's not clear whether the party allows that, but what's going on? Why are people campaigning? It's almost a few minutes to 11 o'clock. What's going on? What's at stake there?
Well, this has been going on for hours. Initially, there were two aspirants who had started campaigning. That was at around 4. Those were Emily Kiptui and David Kiplagat. And then as the night progressed, that was around at 9 p.m., I've seen Joshua Kandie has joined in the campaign trail, and apparently he was just addressing the aspirants there. And you know, this has attracted a lot of crowd, people who just want to come and see, and people just reveling and dancing to the music that is playing here. So we will find out from the party officials tomorrow whether this is allowed, because I don't think it's fair for other people to have completed their campaigns yesterday, as I believe it is required to have completed for individuals to complete their campaigns one day before the nomination or election exercise. So we will keep tabs of what the outcomes of this process. Remember, just before I hand over, is that 195 aspirants for different political seats have been cleared to vie for different positions across 6 constituencies and 7 sub-counties in Baringo. Back to you, Joe.
Thank you very much, Ruth Sarmai. That is an interesting situation going on there in Baringo County, where some people are actually campaigning. Obviously, the party rules, James, are not as stringent as the IEBC's would be, because, I mean, under the IEBC rules, election rules, basically, you can't be doing that. But again, I think it just goes to show how high the stakes are, that everybody is going for that one last vote that they can get.
And how difficult for the parties to actually enforce those rules. You know, supposing, you know, tomorrow they wake up and say this is against the rules, what do they really have to sort of enforce those rules?
Yeah, but it would be interesting to change someone's mind at 11 p.m. just before the elections.
A long day. But let's touch on Baringo a little. I think I was there 2 weeks ago moderating the gubernatorial debate.
Yes.
And I think a few things were very evident. First, it's very obvious that it's called President Moi's town for a reason. And there's sort of like a hang-up between what happened in the first administration with the first governor, who in essence got voted off because he staggered development over a period of time. So residents couldn't see the effect of the governor, and in essence went for someone who promised, today, I'll deliver this today and today. And so Kiptis found himself in this debate in a situation whereby residents are like, the things you promised never happened. And you have to go by and say it's because you know, the first governor tied up all the resources in all these plans and I'm unable to do it. And so the residents sort of felt that there's a sense of planning that they missed, that the governor in the first step perhaps wasn't given enough chance to complete his time. But it's a crowded field. I think it has 8 or 7 aspirants. You know, spanning across Baringo is such a huge county. The difficulty of, you know, cattle rustling and insecurity is part of the conversation there. Resources, especially in healthcare, hasn't been to the satisfaction of residents. And so these are some of the things that they bring to the ballot, even as, you know, they come into this election to think of how better do we move ourselves forward. So it's an interesting battle. I think it's sort of, you know, a 3-way, if you like. I think Lezonet is there as well, you know, commanding a very huge constituency. The 2 governors, you know, the former governor and the current governor, also in there, you know, staking their claims. And it's interesting to see what happens tomorrow in that, because it's, Roslyn, as you know, as you'd like to say, the sort of the expectation of the residents in this county that I find is fairly different from everyone else, that they really actually are interested in issues. Obviously, anyone who wins on UDA has won this ticket.
Yes.
For me, Joe, what stands out is the way UDA deployed or they are having elections or nominations in all the gubernatorial, the senatorial, the parliamentary, woman rep, all of them in what has been considered as the Baringo Senator Gideon Moyes, if you may, home turf, and that is where the Deputy President wants to flex his muscles. And again, a situation just like in the North Rift, where you're seeing a former governor trying to unseat a sitting governor. So it will be interesting to see what sort of turnout and what sort of support the UDA, what as Ruto tries to measure his popularity in such a region. It will be interesting to see how that plays out, for UDA against what has been traditionally a Kanu zone, if you may.
And Rosalind, as you jump in, this phenomenon of one-term governors seeking to make a comeback is quite interesting. I mean, there are governors who lost in 2017 after serving only one term, and we've seen a number of them trying to make a comeback. I mean, Baringo is a typical case. We have Bomet, we have, I think, Taita Taveta. There are all kinds of places where these people are seeking to make a comeback, saying like, I was doing a good job and you people said otherwise. Look what has happened to you in the last 5 years.
Yeah. I actually agree with you, because if you look at the country across, you'll find that, and actually in those counties when you go, you find that the former governors are actually very popular. Take a case of Laikipia. We have the case of Wajir, that the governor is seeking to come back. Garissa, the governor is seeking to come back. We see the former governor of Nairobi is trying his luck in Homa Bay County. So you look at these governors and you get a sense of feeling that the electorate judged them because people wanted quick fix. So I think when the governors came on board and they were seeing that here is money trickling down, we have functions, because the reason why people passed the constitution is because we wanted to devolve funds and power to the ground. And for the first time, we were seeing first governors who are sort of semi-gods, that yes, they had the money, they had the trappings of power, but they were not able to do the turnaround immediately. So you find that people voted them out, and then now the new people that came in, it's like the narrative continued. Yeah. So they are looking at it and saying, okay, fine, we voted these people out, but we really needed them, because maybe the county development plan that they had, given an opportunity, they will have implemented it better. So you find that because of that, most of these governors that are coming back seeking to recapture their lost seats are actually having favor with the electorate. And I think those who are either in office or those who are also contesting with them really need to up their game. Yeah. Because already they had set a plan that they can. I saw the other day the former governor of Wajir, Abdullahi, was actually listing his performance. And one of the things that he had put out, that Wajir was voted the best county under his leadership. And he was asking them, I was voted the best. Currently now, I think it is one of the last counties. So is this what you people want? So they are actually using what they did to win the souls of the electorate, so that they can be.
I think just to piggyback on that, I think devolution as an idea is sort of a paint.
We're out of time.
It's sort of a paint that is not right. But in essence, just to piggyback on that many people among the electorates and politicians didn't really crystallize what this governor position was supposed to be. And so in essence, if you look in 2013, most senior politicians went for the Senate, and then they realized in 5 years that, oh no, where the money is and where the decisions are is in the governorship. Yes. And so even the voters really didn't understand it. And I think in this election, we might see a situation whereby most of those first governors might make a comeback, perhaps because residents and voters are thinking, perhaps this guy, we judged him too harshly at the first asking.
And too soon, yes. Right. And too soon. All right. I think we really have to leave it there. First and foremost, because I know some people around here will be waking up quite early, but also because we've had an interesting day. So there is, I think, where we leave this for tonight. This has been your special coverage of party primary nominations, as they've been called, happening in different parts of the country, primarily for the United Democratic Alliance, UDA, with a sprinkling of the other parties, as we will see tomorrow. But we want to thank you for being with us throughout this coverage. Tomorrow, bright and early, 6 a.m., we will be live from different places around the country, basically keeping the tabs on everything and taking the pulse of all the counties. And we'll be here to cover it all in every way that you would imagine. Thank you very much. My name is Joe Agayo, and on behalf of my panel here, James Smart, Ben Kitili, and Roselyn Obala, you have yourself a lovely evening.